Hi, so with a couple of the questions just being asked around charging, I thought I would do just a very quick video just to show the different charging cables that I am using and have used. I'll just go into a little bit more detail on that. We are just near a public charging point, as you can see there, here in the UK, just by our local supermarket, Sainsbury's. And they also offer free charging, which is good, so I'll be showing that in a second. So here we go. So what I've done is I've actually got three different cables, two of which I actually use, and maybe just to start off with the first one, but this over here is the Menekes cable, which basically here in the UK uses the 3-pin plug, and this is what you would normally put in a wall socket effectively. So the front of my house I have an outdoor wall socket, which I had anyway just because of things like using a pressure washer for the car, and be interesting to hear maybe from others, but here you basically have a couple of different options. So it allows you to charge up to 10 amps here in the UK. And one of the questions I have is actually for anybody that is on the mainland, like Netherlands, France, Belgium, Spain, whether theirs actually says 12 amps. But what it allows you to do is, at least here in the UK, at 10 amps, the onboard charger gets quite noisy. And so if you're charging overnight, for instance, and perhaps on a public street, or perhaps right next to your neighbor, and you're able to press this button here, bring that all the way down to 6 amps, and whilst it will charge less fast, what it does allow you to do is just make that charge a whole lot more quieter. And I'll try and hopefully show that in either later on in this video or in a new video as well. But typically speaking, from an empty charge, with the because this is the long range model here, it takes maybe about 4.5 to 5 hours, I reckon. I haven't really charged it properly, completely from empty so far. And whenever I kind of put it on 6 amp, it's a good 7-8 hours. But if you're asleep, it doesn't really matter anyway, because yeah, there's no rush to necessarily get that. And so that's the here you can see just the connector. This is the one that came with the bike. Just to show you a little bit, but 13 amps, 100 to 250 volts, and this is the type 1 connector that effectively gets put into the bike here. So this would normally connect into this, and what's also quite nice is that you're able to effectively lock it as well, so so that other people won't be able to steal it. So maybe just to show, but I've got a small lock which I end up using, and this lock basically I end up putting through there, which through there, and it just means that people can't steal it very easily, which is quite helpful. I just got this one off eBay. Yeah, they're pretty cheap, and whilst it may not deter everybody from being able to steal it, it allows people to not just pull this out, and including the 3-pin plug in this case. Now, taking this one aside for a second, but I probably use this one the most just because yeah, I use it to charge it overnight just outside my house. Now that said, oh, it's a bit difficult to do with one hand. The cable I ended up buying when I first got the bike. So the salesman actually said, do you know what? There is an opportunity for a fast charge cable, which allows you to charge up to 16 amps. And that's the type 1 to type 2 cable. And don't buy the BMW one. He said it's very expensive. Just go online, get yourself a type 1 to type 2 cable, and you should be okay. And that is where I bought this cable basically. And I got it off Amazon, and it's from a company, or at least the website that kind of sells it through Amazon is evcables.co.uk. And also, as you can see, so type 1 on that side, same as before, but on this side it's a type 2 cable. And in this case, the type 2 fits into the public charging plugs that you see in here basically. That allows it to connect to it. And you can see here the cable's a bit hard to see perhaps, but cable's a Chinese cable. there's not a whole lot of spec on it. Just gonna change here a second. And you can just see here just some of the specs that it does come with. But I basically managed to fry my onboard charger by plugging this in. And the reason I believe is that whilst the bike is capable of 16 amps, I think the public charger here is a 7 kilowatt one, and basically it was probably passing through too much current. Unfortunately I had to go back to BMW to basically have the onboard charger control unit completely replaced. So that was a little bit of a shame. So luckily BMW did that. I still don't know 100% for sure if it was the cable or not, or whether it was something on the bike, but I'm very hesitant to ever try again. So this cable is never being used on my bike, but I've kept it just for for demonstration purposes. So with that in mind, I ended up getting the oh, and what was also quite nice is I was able to pick a 2 meter one, just because you don't need a whole lot of cable, as you can see here. Now, going back to BMW after it was fixed, I decided to buy the proper cable effectively, and this is what it looks like. And it's built by a company which I'll put in the description below. It's a German company. I think it's called Von Bals, if I believe correctly. And they've just white labeled it, so other companies can literally get their own made with different logos. But what you see here is just the it's a bit hard to see perhaps, is that this cable is rated for 32 amps instead of the 16 amps from the other one. And I've also got a bit more on the specs here. Oh, 1 second. Here we go. E-mobile cable Von Bals, Von Bals being the company there. And you can just see the specs there in a little bit more detail as well. So just putting the cap back on. Oh, maybe I shouldn't. But basically this cable is obviously an awful lot longer, and this is now the cable that I primarily use when going on public charging. And the way I use it is just a simple plug in here, and then going for the type 2 cable here as well. So you can just see here just some of the specs there as well. 32 amps. I think there may be a little bit more just under the lid. No, actually there isn't. And it's super easy to use. You'll have to excuse me. Sometimes these chargers, they only, 1 or 2 of them kind of work properly. I have a feeling because this one's on red it may not work, but just pushing this in, and usually it should go straight onto green, which it isn't doing. So I'm just going to try the other side here a second. 1 second. And we'll hopefully see those lights go green. There we go. So that's all green. Nice thing about Pod Point is they make that fairly easy. You can use their app, so if it's a chargeable point, if I can call it that, then you activate it with their app. But you can see here just the green lights being on, and also you can see the charging status over there as well. So it does charge it at a full 16 amp instead of the 10 amps obviously that I get with the Menikeys that I showed you earlier here. So it's around about, I think maybe they say 20% faster, and I think that's probably right. And so you can see that it's charging at the moment. That light wasn't showing when I used the green cable when I first bought it. There's a red light showing. And basically all you have to do if you want to have a quick look, you can press the info button just there, and I'll show you, and the screen comes back on, and it'll tell you the remaining charging time effectively for the last 15 minutes. And again, with this cable you can put in the little green cable there, which I'm just going to put in there. I'm just going to try and get my stuff sorted in the background with one hand. 1 second. It's very hard to do actually. 1 second. All right. So basically that's the cable sorted. Nobody can just press a button and pull it out. And what's also quite nice is that nobody also can't take out this part of it unless the so if I try and take it out, it won't do it at the moment. It is completely locked in at the moment. And so but as you can see, like, there's still quite a bit of cable left here in this case. So what I end up doing is I have my my trusty Oxford Boss lock, and the way I managed to secure it beyond that is I'm just gonna try and see if I can open this with one hand. Oh. Helps actually, here we go. So when I put it through here, I actually put this cable through it as well, so that I effectively have the cable secured whilst I'm away, so nobody can lock or just grab the cable. So you can't just pull the cable through because there's obviously the two big handles on either end. And so that is pretty much how I charge my my bike whilst on the move, and using these cables effectively. So I'm just gonna go out, get a few extra tennis balls for my dog, and that should be topped up in about half an hour again. So free public charging using the official BMW cable in this case. Great, well, thank you very much for watching. Very happy to take more suggestions just on any more videos or things that you'd like to know. And yeah, look forward to the next video. Bye. Just come back to my bike. Just thought I'd show this last little bit. The little icon is on green, and the onboard charger is humming away a little bit still. And in a second, when I unplug it, I'm just gonna put my little code in a second. So the moment I unplug it, light will stop going in a sec, and the onboard charger has stopped humming away. You can hear it a little bit still. Oh, it's properly stopped now. And at this point also, I am also able to pull this one out, which I wouldn't have been able to before. So, and that is pretty much it in a nutshell. This is all back, and just to have a quick look to see what the should all be at 100%, of course. Let's have a look. And yeah, that is at 100%. Till I haven't been driving it very economically. Usually it says over 100 miles as well. And there you go, all ready to go. So I'm going to pack my cable, put it in the top box, and I will be on my way to a festival tonight. So taking the bike together with my wife. Bye.